have your name and your distribution?
My name is Suleiman Sumare Jane. I am the Deputy Managing Director for NRA.
You are responsible for the roads, and from the Hakalan Road to here, one of the messages that resonates throughout is that the contractors are not living up to expectation. What's your take on that?
Well, we basically wanted to understand exactly why were they not delivering the projects as expected and within the timelines. And they outlined a few issues to us, most of which were not acceptable. Virtually, it's an issue of performance. And Honorable Minister made it very clear to them that we cannot allow them to continue to deal with the projects as they have been in the past. Right now, it's a new day, and they are being strict deadlines. They are being given strict deadlines to execute the projects effectively. And right now, that's what we are working on. And when we go back to the office, we're going to write to them individually as contractors and let them know what the deadlines are. And His Excellency, the President, is going to be traveling sometime next week to visit some of these projects as well, too. And we have indicated that to them that we want to see tremendous progress before His Excellency comes out. Not to say that they only should be doing work because His Excellency is coming out, to visit these projects, but it's work that should have been done a long time ago, and they should have, really, progressed well. And we're actually just making it very clear that, the deadline is if His Excellency is not satisfied, just like our Honorable Minister is not satisfied and I'm not satisfied, we have no choice but to terminate some of these contracts.
Yeah,
so,
like for the case of Hakalan, I understand that it should have been completed in 2001. Yeah, and we have 2 years on top of that. Don't you think that is too much, a long time?
That's actually, way past due. And we've indicated it to the contractor, and this is somebody that we have given chance over chance over chance, and we're going to continue to do that. Right now, it's time for him to deliver, and we are virtually in accordance to the Honorable Minister's instructions. We need performance from him, and we're giving him a very short leash right now. He needs to perform. If not, the Honorable Minister will consider taking the contract away from them, and these are the strict warning that he gave to them.
Like for the case of Marisengor and our company, I understood that the contract was signed in March and they were supposed to start in May, but they ended up starting around November because they say when they came back and they did the feasibility studies, they realized that they need upgrade. And what does that say about the National Road Authority? That the contractors could come back and tell you that we need the upgrade?
Well, that's normal contracting practice. Anywhere you go in the world, contractors will have their own team of engineers that will do feasibility studies and do evaluation on every single project. So you can actually design a project to meet a certain criteria. They may have a totally different view once the project is started. So that is not an issue that maybe NRA did not do their job like they were supposed to. They did. But in this case, she just had a better idea on how to elevate the roads, to avoid the road eroding away in the rainy season because, they were sitting, a little bit too low. Now, we have to understand that this road was an existing road already. And we didn't think that it needed to be elevated as such or maybe changed too much on subgrade that existed before. But when she came back and did her assessment, she determined that it needed to be changed. That's what realistically caused the delay, resulting in her submitting a new design, which NRA accepted and gave her the go-ahead to execute the new design. Thank you very much, sir.
Based on the RSK's contract, that is the Akalang Road. We have seen a lot of
CSE.
We have seen a lot of delay in the contract. And now, what is the next steps as far as the government of the Gambia is concerned, as far as that contract is concerned? What is the next step? Because
let me answer that. Those are policy issues.
Right. Let me allow my Honorable Minister to answer that. Yes, sir.
I don't want him to say something and then they say NRA said.
Yes. Yeah, okay. It will come along. Yeah. Honorable, thank you and welcome to this interview. So far, I just want to share with you your impression, what you've seen so far. Separating these 2-3 areas we visited, the Hakalan. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Can you repeat your question?
I just want to share your impression so far, separating all these 3 areas one after the other, beginning with Hakalan. What you've seen and what you've heard.
Thank you so much. The works in Hakalang are still not as satisfactory as we planned, because by now we should have seen all the culverts completed now. We should have seen the surface already done in many of the areas. But the challenges are there. Today, after going through all the areas, we sat and then came up with a new program for the contractor, and he will be officially written to, hopefully by Wednesday, to ensure that those new plans are adhered to. If not, there will be consequences.
When you were talking there, you were saying no, there's no more room for complacency, and you pointed to the road, and then you said the road is not even level. You also talked about the road bleeding, and in that other point in time, what was going in your mind?
Well, because that is why we go on field visits. Sometimes the contractors will write certain things in their progress reports, which we always have to be in the field to verify. And I guess the field visit today has testified the need to conduct regular visits like this, because we have seen that certain works, were done. If we were not here today, those things would have been left unchecked, and then they would have been handed over to the government. But we immediately rejected those work, because we have paid for quality, and we cannot accept anything below standard. And any work that will have to be delivered to us have to be delivered with the quality specified in the contract. And that is why we insisted on site that those sections would have to be redone, and that contractor was talked to and specifically told to ensure that he meets the designs as specified in the contract. Secondly, we have looked at the scope of work. We have looked at the new work schedule, and we made it clear that all works should be completed on or before December for the Hakalang Road to be fully handed over to the government. We are not going to settle for anything, and now we have given shorter inspection periods. Rather than waiting for a month to go around, now we want to make it bi-weekly. Every 2 weeks we will be going to ensure that the progress is measured against what they are doing or what they have said in their new work plan. So we'll be very strict about that.
We've also been to Kerewan Jabako, the 10-kilometer stretch, handled by Hadim.
Yes, the Kerewan to Njawara, which is like 9.9 kilometers, is contracted to Guy Construction. They have finished all the work. What is left now is to do the double surface dressing. Now, if they deploy fully for the double surface dressing, they should be able to do 1.5 kilometers a day. So which means that within 6, 7 to 10 days, they should completely finish that particular road, double surface. And the culverts, there are certain areas where we told them to turn them into culvert instead of iris crossings, because of the anticipated level of water flow that will come through those areas. The other thing is that we have given them up to the end of June to completely finish everything on that road and hand it over to the government. I think we are getting very serious now with late delivery. This is costing government a lot of money, but it is also costing us a lot of bad perception from the project beneficiaries, the local people. So in order to rein on some of these things and to stop it, we have to insist that contractors perform. and perform on time and on budget. So that is why we are going round, and we have looked at the revised works of all the roads now, and there will be no deviation. The good thing is that we are not owing any contractor. I mean, for example, the Njawara Kerawan Road, that is from the National Road Fund, executed by the National Road Authority. I mean, they have not asked for any IPC, but they are not also owed. Where we are right now also, the Njabakunda, Bani, Salikenye, also the same problem. There is no, money owed to the contractor. So we cannot accept that when we pay you, you are not delivering on time. So we will not accept that. Even though this is not under the direct supervision of the central government, but because public funds have been spent on this project, we now at the level of the ministry will be directly, following the supervision processes and insist that all projects are delivered on time and on budget. Yes, we want to encourage Gambian contractors. As you can see, even with the new roads, 4 out of the 8 lots are given to Gambians. But even though that is the case, we cannot also allow, substandard work. We cannot allow unnecessary delays, and we cannot allow constant change of, scope. So really, the good thing is the contractors have listened to us, and they are ready to work with us on the new timelines.
So, as you said, after here.
Yes.
We have seen the contractor changing from the
Double surface to asphalt. Yes.
Is that cost effective? And in that regard, what's the cost?
Well, the asphalt is more expensive than the double surface dressing, but asphalt is also more durable than the double surface dressing. So in terms of cost per value, we can say that it is good in the long run. Rather than 20 years, it will be next 40 years before we do any major, rehabilitation on those roads. So it's still not bad. Although with rural areas for asphalt, the desire is that the roads should be highly motorized. Now, in some of these areas, we have very little traffic. That can be a concern. But we want to believe that once the road is done, you'll see a lot of people who have vehicles and they leave them in the combos because of the bad nature of the roads will now be coming with their vehicles, and then they'll be plying these roads even more.
Maybe this is a perfect opportunity for you to say something to those critics who are saying the government is going around town laying a lot of foundation stones to different parts of the country. There's no fund for all those kind of projects. Exactly. As the Minister responsible for Transport, Works and Infrastructure, what would you say to those critics and governments?
Well, it is of no value trying to respond to critics who don't even understand what they are saying. The truth is, we don't owe any contractor in the Gambia. Yes, there may be delays in processing their payments, which is normal, between 1 month and 3 months. Once they raise their payment certificates, they are paid. So there is money. All these roads that are laid, we have budgets for them. We have funds for them. And the Gambia is one of the few countries in the region that will give contracts and then they pay on time. Go to any of these countries in West Africa. Some contractors will tell you that they have done roads and they have not been paid for more than 3-4 years. All the works that we are doing here, at least since I came to the ministry in May of 2022, we have been regularly paying the contractors. And for the doubters, those who are saying that we are only laying the foundation stones. At least we've laid the foundation stone of this road. But you have seen what is happening here. I mean, you have seen what is been done even at the camp here. You have seen what has happened on the Njawara Kerawan Road. You have seen what is happening in Hakalang. You have seen what is happening in Battle Hardin. You have seen what is happening in the OIC 50 kilometers. Certain things may be slow because in urban areas you have to do with a lot of relocation of services. Relocation of services means the Nawek water pipes, the Gamtel fiber, and the electricity poles. You have to move them from the right of way. You have also seen that we have done a lot of demolition of properties because these are properties that have encroached on the roads. So in order to provide the right of way for the road to be wide enough to make it motorable, you have, and demolition has to be done according to law. I mean, you have to first survey the land area, you engage the property owners, you give them consent forms to sign that their properties are going to be demolished. Then you do a sensitization, you raise the funds for them to be compensated, and then you demolish. So that alone, because this is not an autocratic state, this is a democratic state. So before, these things were not happening. People will just wake up and in the morning they see their properties demolished. Now we are not doing that. Okay? We are not doing that here now. What we are doing is different. We follow the law, we engage the final beneficiaries, and we get consent.
Also, would you attribute it to the procurement of materials? Because Gambia, we don't have anything, everything is imported.
Well, I mean, that is also part of it because basalt and almost everything that you use for construction, apart from laterite, is imported from outside. And even laterite, to get quality laterite like this, sometimes you have to travel for tens of kilometers to get quality laterite like this. So Gambia is developing. It is like a new development completely taking place in this country. That it is like for the past 30 years or 50 years, no significant development process had taken place. So you are kind of like doing everything new. The roads are there, some of them existing, but they are in such a dilapidated situation that you spend more money to rehabilitate those ones. So what the option is to do a completely new road so that it can take us the next 30 years before we talk about any rehabilitation. But I believe that in the final end, the final beneficiaries will be very happy. Can you imagine from Salikenya to the highway, Njabakunda, if that road is finished now and then is fully tarred, what we call the black thing on it. The people from Busumbala, that's what they know, the black one, and the Kamarakundas. Anything that you don't have black on, they don't believe in it. But before you get to that black thing, it takes a lot of efforts. You spend more money from the base, the sub base, and then you seal, you prime, and then sometimes for double surface dress you may even cement stabilize, so that it can be very, very strong. We are not compromising the quality, and I think this government should be praised for that. All the roads that we have done, really, as far as I have seen, that the government has gone into, quality has always been the issue because we're a very poor country. So as a poor country, what you don't compromise is quality. So that's what we are doing. We're working with all the stakeholders to ensure that they don't compromise the quality that we set in the contract documents.